taught is that, yeah, of course there is. We're all looking to return to oneness because you are only temporarily an individual.
Yes.
Your consciousness temporarily inhabits individualized form, and something in you knows that and is yearning. Like, what is love other than union? The recognition that we're all one. When I love my daughter, it's like I want to be whole with her. When I love West Ham United, I want West Ham United to succeed. If I love my country, if I love a stranger, it's my sense of, we are one, we are one, we are one. It's an illusion.
Well, it's an illusion that we're not one.
Yes.
Yes. For sure, yeah. I just want to make sure they understood what you're saying.
Of course, yeah, no. No, the oneness is there. Come back. Yeah. That's my last chance, there's oneness. Now come back.
But truthfully, one of the things that's clear when you look at human beings is suffering is a lack of connection. I mean, not connected with yourself, not connected with your creator as you understand it, not connected to your family, not connected to your friends. When we lack that connection, we look for something else to bridge that gap. And it's usually something to make a radical change in our physical body so we feel different. And unfortunately, then we get addicted to it because it works in the moment, but it doesn't work long term. And that short-term, long-term piece, our culture also focuses on the short-term all the time, whether it's business where you're supposed to make it in the next quarter, or whether it's right now pleasing somebody in the moment, even if pleasing them isn't serving them or serving you. So I think the discipline of getting to the truth is the hardest part. You've woken up, and we're always continually waking up, I should say. I'm doing it myself all the time. I'm not perfect by any stretch. But I'm curious, how do you wake yourself up when you realize you're asleep? How do you wake yourself up when you feel, not dropping back to drugs, I know you're not doing that, you've done that for 15 years, but you are a much more conscious man today, so you look and you evaluate things differently, it's obvious. So how do you wake yourself up, and what do you catch yourself doing today so it doesn't get to that level?
I feel like how you wake yourself up is to, firstly, I think people have imbibed the idea that you're not meant to be happy. I think a lot of people, like when I'm walking around, I feel like people on escalators or something, they're not like, this is bullshit. They're like, oh yeah, this is like life, that thing where you're just miserable and you just switch off and cope, and maybe I'll get some little tidbit token at the end of the day, like a rat in a maze. You know, like people aren't looking for that. So if you sort of, like, and it's weird, isn't it? Because, like, you know, earlier we've already said self-obsession is one of the things that we're trying to heal. But the idea of entitlement to joy, I mean, every single religion tells you that suffering is inevitable, and we all know that at least materially we're going to die. But the joy, that you have a right to feel joyful. So I think that that's part of the awakening, of letting go of the idea that I don't deserve to be unhappy, I'm not bad.
There's a reason why we think that. You know, we all have a 2 million year old brain, right? So that brain is not designed to make you happy. It's designed to make you survive. So why do you survive? You constantly look for what's wrong, and you either fight it, or you flight it, or you freeze. Those are the only 3 choices. When that, 2 million year old brain's running the show, we don't do so well. And everyone is vulnerable when that part's running. But when we step out of that to our higher self, which you're tapping into, which all of us tap into at different times, we evaluate things completely differently. It's no longer about that. I tell people, look, survival is going to be handled to some extent by your nervous system. Happiness is your job. You got to figure out how to do it. And if you don't believe that you're even meant to be happy, you're absolutely right. But I think most people's idea of happiness is getting something, or maybe getting in the flow, which flow comes and goes depending on what you're dealing with in your life, right? And so I think the idea that expectations, the more expectations we are, the more unhappy we are, because I used to realize how unhappy, I think I was so happy, but I realized my happiness was really cheap, because all I had to do was pull out that frickin' phone and I could have happiness go up or down in a few seconds, right? I have 33 companies, I got 1,200 employees. What are the chances somebody's effing up right now, meaning doing something different than I think? And sure enough, there it is on my phone. I can see it in 2 seconds. And my joy would disappear. So I think part of it, I couldn't agree with you more, is it's putting a line in the sand and saying, life's too short to suffer. And I'm gonna live in a beautiful state no matter what. Even when it rains on my parade, even when it doesn't go my way, I'm gonna find that joy, because in that place, I can serve more. It's kind of like when you get on a plane and the first thing they say to you is, if we get into trouble and we lack of oxygen, the oxygen mask will drop down, and the first thing they say is, put it on your kid, right? No. They say, put it on yourself. That sounds so self-obsessive. But if you don't take care of yourself, your kid's gonna die. You're not gonna be there to take care of them. And I think there's a balance between self-obsession and the balance of having enough love for yourself that you do the things that allow you to truly be a source of service to those around you, where it isn't where it isn't phony, where it isn't platitudes, but it's something you're actually living. Not perfectly, nobody's perfect, but at that level. And the reason I wanted to interview with you is because you're so effing real, and you're sincere, and you're vulnerable, and I think people hearing that can say, I can relate to that. So tell me, what along this journey, When did you really feel like, and I'm sure it's a never-ending process, but when did you really feel like, okay, I'm on the right road now? What was the moment? What was the time? What was the situation that made you start to feel that?
There have been many little junctions, and I feel and I pray there'll be many more. But like there was a moment, I can remember the first moment I thought, oh, you don't have to take drugs every day. Because I, like you, Mary, I just couldn't conceive of it. When someone said, oh, all you have to do is not drink or take drugs until you go to bed. I just thought, well, how would you ever do that? Like, I couldn't think of it. It's only 7 o'clock. I've got Jesus, there's so much to do. Yeah. And like, so I couldn't, and then the moment when the thought, I remember it, like I was looking at the sky, looking at the dendrite is the word, dendrite branches of a tree, yes. And it came through my mind, I suppose you don't have to drink and take drugs every day. And it was the first time that little download had floated through. And then I went to the treatment center where I got clean and people were cool. Then I suppose it's ongoing, and I must say, I imagine perhaps the reason that these myths such as Sisyphus and the boulder up and then he's got to do it tomorrow and Prometheus with his guts getting pecked out is I have to continually do it because I, like you said with the phone, I continually, in parlance of 12-step, take my will back. Yes. I don't think, oh no, the universe has got me, the universe has got me covered, I just need to be here, show up, do what I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to get there, if Tony Robbins is cool, no problem. I instead think, no, this is meant to go this way, this traffic's meant to move at this time, this is meant to happen in this way. Yeah. And like I feel it like some negative transformation, like as if scales are appearing on my skin and I'm falling backwards through evolution, back to some lizard man, black-tongued and serpentine, flicking eyes, 3 eyelids now, and suddenly I want to control everything. And it happens all the time. You know, like for me it's like I don't
So how do you get out of it when you realize it? First, what makes you realize it, and then how do you snap out of it? Because anyone listening who's had any form of addiction, which all of us have had at some stage, some form, we all need this moment. We need to use this moment, not let the moment use us.
There are clear techniques, thank God. One is surrender. One is like, right, okay, it's more important that I stay calm. Don't give up.
It's really relaxing. When you say surrender, do you breathe? Do you take a breath?
Yeah, take a breath. And like, say that I'm about to make a decision on the basis of that reptilian feeling.
Yes.
I talk to someone else because you may be cracking up now, so like there could be consequences for this. Because like, you know, just yesterday, like I live in a nice rural sweet place. I live in some toy town wonderland where, you know, like sort of the gumdrops grow on the trees and the rivers run with lemonade. And like I've gone across this little bridge and it's only one way because it was built for horse and carriage days. That's how cute it is where I live. And like so the cars can't travel at the same time. So like, you know, I felt like it was my turn to travel the bridge and the guy on the opposite side, he thought it was his time and he moved and he sort of like pressed his horn. In that moment, I stopped the car.